Hey, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of the Walking This Way Impact Voice Podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Furman Jackson Jr. We're broadcasting out of the DFW, Dallas Fort Worth, Texas metropolitan area. I just want to give a big shout out to everyone. I want to give a big shout out to my co-host with me here on the Walking These Ways Impact Voice Podcast, the Kingdom Chick herself, Miss Nancy C out of Miami, Florida. I also want to give a big shout out to my new co-host, my new partner for the lunch of the Just Saying podcast, Low Franklin as well. So we're gonna be gearing up for that. So I'm very excited about what's going on. Very excited about this time, what's going on, what we're about to do, what we're about to discover, and most importantly, it's all about extraordinary people who are doing extraordinary things. And I want to thank everybody for continue rocking with us, supporting us. It's all about evolving and it's all about growing because we are phenomenal human beings. I do believe that we are gifted human beings. We are talented human beings. And we know that we are made in the image of God. As he said, let us make man in our image after our likeness. So as men, we are made in the image of God and after his likeness. And we know that we are very, very extraordinary. I have a very extraordinary gift as well. I had the pleasure of meeting this young man this past Saturday at the Arlington Mercy Mix. Be shout out to Keisha Sanchez for setting it up. You just never know when God allow you to connect with people. You never miss out on these opportunities because you never know you get these opportunities again. But what I love about this young man, it was no procrastination. It was, now we'll see, maybe. It's like, hey, let's go ahead and do it. And he glad to accept the invitation. I thank for taking time with the schedule to be on here this morning. So, D, thank you, sir, for coming on here this morning. Extraordinary man doing extraordinary thing, and that's what the podcast is all about, as you are doing extraordinary things yourself. So go ahead, man, introduce yourself here to the audience. Let's chop it up, man. Let's elaborate on what's going on, man. Let's bring in these nuggets and these gems. I also want to give a big shout out to Lo as well. I know she's probably timing in. Eventually she may be a little bit late, but give her a big shout out as well for being part of this conversation this morning. So, man, D, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I am Deric Durden, the speaker, author, and coach. I'm also the board president and teen life director for the nonprofit organization Torch. Torch stands for Tackling Opposition Through Resilience, Character, and Heart, in which is a nonprofit organization that helps teenagers transition from high school into college and also into the workforce. Outside of that, I'm a father, I'm a brother, I'm a son. I'm someone who really is into the community, uplifting, inspiring. And my message is simply this: it doesn't matter where you've been or what you're currently going through, you can create the life that you truly desire. It's all about making your next move your best move. And that sums me up in one quick summarization.
Man, I'm glad we talking about this because I had a conversation with Lo before we came on the air, and I just love like-minded people who look past the limitations, going to the deep level of things. And I was reading some earlier. I've been had it, and it was on my dining room table, and I came across this. It's like, what is this? What is this? Is a question. Is the key question at the heart of ethnology? In what sense does the world exist? And in what sense do we exist? And these are the questions that we ask ourselves, like, why do the world exist? Why do, in a sense, why do we exist? So D, do you get questions like that on a regular? I know people question things like why this had to happen, why I'm here. These are questions that people ask on a regular basis. So do you get those type of questions all the time asked?
To be honest, the most important thing is, have I asked myself those questions? At the end of the day, I have to figure out what my purpose is. First, I have to go back to the beginning. What was placed inside of me when I was born? What was my purpose? What was my mission? Why was my life created? What is the path that I have to go on in order to fulfill my purpose in this lifetime? And so, going back to that question, why do I exist? I had to find that. And I found it in a difficult, dark place. And that's normally where we find it at. It's not the times when we're in comfort or convenience. It's the time when we're actually going through a struggle, that we have to look inside of ourselves instead of looking at our circumstances. Because when everything is going good, we have the ability to say, you know what, I'm doing this right, I'm doing that right. It inflates our ego, and we think that we're doing it on our own. But in those deep, dark times, we have to take ourselves out of the equation.
Oh, he got knocked off. We'll be right back. But these are things that we talk about. These are things that we should discuss on a regular basis. So wait to deep time back in. Well, now we're going to take a quick commercial break when you get the time back in. So like I said, I thank everybody. There you go. There you go. All right, there you go.
Yeah. When you talking some good stuff, that's a part of it, adversity. But even in those adverse times, you got to stay consistent. You don't give up. You continue to push forward. And it goes right along with what I was saying. It was in those adverse times when I had to take myself out of it, look to something bigger than myself. I had to understand that uh, I went through so much, and I knew that it was God that brought me through. Because there was a lot of situations where my rope had ended. And so I had to depend on something bigger and better and stronger than I was. And that's the only thing that I could reach for was God. I was brought up in the church, so I know and understand what God is, who God is. And more importantly, it brought me to the realization of my relationship with God. And so, as again, like asking that question, like, what is my significance? Why am I here? It was all connected to a deep, dark place where I could not lean on my own understanding, lean on my own power, my own skills, my own qualities, and look upward to God in order to find that way out and find out what did He place in me, which is aligned with what my purpose is here on earth.
Yeah, because these are things that we go through. And like I said, the book that I have in my library, and I read it some years ago, The Laws of Human Nature. And that's a good book to learn. Uh, it talks about how everything starts back within our childhood. And some people dealt with trauma. Everything starts back to childhood, our upbringing. The Bible says that we were born in sin, shaped in iniquity. So as we were shaped to think a different way, act a certain way. Things we thought was normal, but it wasn't normal. And that stuff lingered on into our adulthood, where it affected a lot of things. It affect our professional relationships, our personal relationships. It affects our money. It affects everything that we come in contact with because of certain beliefs that we was taught. Even the scripture tells us to love your neighbor as you love yourself. So it is God's will for us to love ourselves. We was taught loving yourself is wrong. You should love other people, but we was never taught to love ourselves. And that's how people get so caught up in things. They feel loving others and loving things, but we forget about ourselves at the end of the day. We neglect ourselves at the end of the day, where we feel, was it trapped just because of the beliefs that we have? We experience.
I think that what you're saying is very important. It's it's foundational to us as human beings. As a child, I grew up without my mother and father in the household. I was raised by my grandmother, and so having that void of not having both of my parents in my life, it created a gaping hole in my person, in my heart, in my soul. And I used that hole and tried to fill it with things that were superficial growing up, as far as popularity or females or even just just clothes, shoes, all those things that don't have a significance or just really based on material things. And so for me, trying to plug that hole up with all those superficial things made me or put me in a position to make some bad decisions, in which we'll get further into down the line. But the childhood is foundational. So as parents, we have a very, very valuable role in raising these children. And it's very important that we take that as a calling, not just something that we're forced to do. Oh, I had a child, so I have to. No, it's a blessing to be able to raise a child. It's a blessing to be a steward over another life that you are responsible for in upbringing. And also for the children, we have to know and understand that we have to place that mindset inside of them that they are valuable. We got to place that they are unique for a reason, that they don't have to follow the crowd, they don't have to fit in, that their uniqueness, that they were created, no matter what it is, even if they wear glasses, if they were born with autism, they were perfectly designed for the purpose for their life. And as a parent, it is our role, it is our duty, our responsibility to implant that into our children's mind instead of letting society be the determining factor of how they look at themselves, how they have their self-confidence, where their self-esteem is based from. And I think that the childhood is the most important, most integral part of a person's life because it sets the foundation for how they'll be for the rest of their life.
Yeah, because the book I was reading a while back, The Art of Living by Bill Proctor, it talks about imaginations. You know, we was growing up, we all had imaginations, and then we used to hear people say, "Don't do that. What the neighbors gonna think?" So now we became a slave to other people' opinions of ourselves. So that right there, trickling on down all the way up to today, we worry about what other people think. We worry about what other people say, and we had not fully been free from that. And I think once we get free from what other people think and learn to value ourselves and believe who God made us to be, I think we could go further farther in life because we so influenced about what people think, what they gonna say. That what people say, what the neighbors gonna say, what they gonna say, what they gonna think. It's like we always want to do things to please people, impress people, and we know we see that on social media.
And it goes back to your first question, the significance thing. If we don't have our own self-worth, our own self-identity, then we're easily influenced by the ways of the world. We're easily influenced by social media. We're easily influenced by things outside of us because we have not internalized for ourselves our own purpose. It's
Mm-hmm.
like uh, a sail. It's blown by the wind in whatever direction because it's not controlled by itself. And so if we don't have that foundational piece of self-identity, of self-confidence, of self-consciousness, then it's easier for us to follow in whatever the wind blows, whether it be social media, whether it be our friends, peer pressure, being accepted, being liked, just being a people pleaser because we don't have our own self values, our own self goals. We haven't taken the time to find out who we are for ourselves. And once we find out who we are for ourselves, then we know what to do and what is in line with who we are and what we're planning to do.
And like I said, that sums it up right there. Because I had a conversation with someone, and it was about a wedding. And I told someone I don't want to do a wedding. When I say I don't want to do a wedding, we see statistics say that people that do these big lavish weddings, their marriages don't last long because you spending bukus of money on something that gonna keep you in debt for something that's gonna put for an hour or whatever you want to say. Because we do this to impress people. And I said, why you want to have a wedding for? You want to do it to impress people. The individual was like, well, you got to think about it. It's always been a girl dream to have these fairy tale weddings. That's the problem because Disney pushed that out and we ran with it instead of just saying we get married on a street corner. Long that it's me and you. The most important thing is me and you. And I think that's what we get caught up in. We get caught up in, I gotta have this, I gotta have. Then people put their influence in. You may say, hey, we're not doing the wedding. Why you don't need to get this thing once in a lifetime? And we'll buy into it instead of just going along what we plan on doing. Because I do believe it's me and you against the world. If that makes sense.
I mean, when we talk about marriage, we got to understand that that's a spiritual covenant. So it's a man, a woman, and God. A three-strand cord is not easily broken. And so when we look at that, first we got to make sure that we have our understanding of marriage is and what it truly means before we even step into that arena. If we have a distorted idea about what marriage is, we are married for the wrong reasons. We'll start doing stuff for the wrong reasons. And if it's not founded on what the truth is, then your homegirls, your homeboys will start planting ideas into your mind. Girl, he should be doing this. Next thing you know, she internalizes that, and now she has these certain expectations of you based off of what her homegirls have said. Or another one of us as men, our homeboys say, "Man, my wife do this, this, and this," and then we have put that into our mind, and then we have these certain expectations for our wife. When every woman, every person is their own person. I cannot put expectations of someone else on the person I'm in a relationship with. And so if we have these false ideas, we don't have the true understanding of marriage is, we will come in with false ideas, with false expectations, and it will not succeed because it's built on straw and not on brick, not on a strong foundation. So I believe that understanding that is the key. And you said something about like um, impressing other people. So we put on social media so much these days. Our relationships, um, we're going on this, and that's fine if it's in the right perspective. And so, like you said a girl's dream or fantasy, they only have this once in a lifetime. But if you do it for the wrong reason, you might have that experience more than once because you'll get married, get divorced, try the same thing with somebody else, get divorced. And you see, you done went through this process 2 or 3 times, and you haven't figured out that if I'm doing the same thing, getting the same result, then something must not be right. Maybe it's my approach, maybe it's my mindset, maybe it's the way I'm going at it or view it. And so we go from a lot of times we go from relationship to relationship without doing the healing process, without doing the introspecting process, looking at ourselves. Because we get to the blame game. Oh, it didn't work because of he. He did. Oh, it didn't work because she wasn't doing this. Oh, it was that person. His mama was always in our beat. It's everything but what we could have done. And the crazy part about it is the only thing we can control is what we do. We can't control another person. We can influence them, we can inspire them, we can encourage them, but we cannot change them. They will only change when they see fit that either one thing they're facing enough pain that they don't want to keep going through that pain, or two, they have been inspired in a way that they understand that what they've been doing is no longer working for them.
Yeah, because when I look at this, it going back to learning yourself, knowing yourself, and not to compromise nor bring no break. Especially the scripture tells us how can the two walk together except they agree. And that's always going to be successful when two people be on the same page, one accord, can agree to walk this path and not to worry about what other people think, what they say. Because, like I said, I do believe in successful marriages. I have been married before. I've been divorced since 2017. And I look at it, I take it as a learning experience. I take it as, I use it as motivation. I'm not the type of person who people want to blame their ex this. No, at the end of the day, you had a role too. And I think what the scripture says, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. Because marriage is not all about sex. They think it's all about sex, it's emotions. She look good, look at her body, look at this. But it's principles with that. It's okay, we chose to be together. It's a reason why we chose to be together. And I'm saying I never plan anything. I'm just telling you, I'm just being honest with you here on the show. I never sat down and had a plan. I never sat down with a goal. Because I look at, and I learned this now at 43, I look at marriage now as a business. And I say a business is business decisions we have to make. Where we gonna live? Where we gonna live at? How we gonna run our household? If we plan on having children, how we gonna raise our children? These are things we'll go into. So we go into these marriages, these unions, totally blind, and we just go in with that mindset of we just gonna go with the flow. Going with the flow could lead us to a dead end.
For sure.
So it's like, what the purpose of being together for? I'm not talking because sex ain't all that. Sex ain't all that. Romance ain't all that. It's the principle. Okay, while we are together, do are people asking that why we chose to be together? It just because the physical gonna fade. We know that. But if that's the only thing you marry this person because how they look, you don't have anything. Because people look good but have a jack. I see a lot of physical attractive women, but their character makes them ugly.
Mm, yeah. And you said something very important. Even though you use the term business, but anything in life, if you want to accomplish anything, you need a plan. And without that plan, like you said, you wind up to end up anywhere. If you don't have a target, you can never hit it. And with that plan, what it shows you is what is your why. People want certain things, but they don't want the responsibility that come with it. But if you want something and you don't know why you want it, then you can be chasing something that you really don't need. And so when you sit down and you get ready to marry somebody, I think a great conversation is why are we getting married? Is it for financial stability or is it for companionship? Is it, oh, I want to have kids? Because if you don't know your why, if y'all don't agree on the why, then again, you said, my people perish for the lack of knowledge and also for vision. That plan also gives you a vision, something you can see, something you can work towards. And so without that plan, without that vision, you got two people who have two individual purposes, two individual plans, two individual visions. And those two visions, two plans, two purposes can take each of y'all in two different directions. And that's the key of having the same vision, the same plan, because it takes two people to have them going in the same direction for the same purpose to reach the same place.
Yeah, cause I agree. I agree with you, D. Because I'm the type of person I don't want to argue. I really don't want to argue. It's not normal. It's not healthy. I'm not gonna fight. It's not normal. It's not healthy. We are called to be peacemakers, and we can have great conversation. We can have great dialogue, and that's the part of humbling ourselves. With women, or if the woman that you with, she has a voice. I encourage any woman whom I'm with, you have a voice. I don't know everything, but you can see something that I don't see. And it's my job to take in consideration what you said and humble myself. And that's another thing too. We have a lot of pride and a lot of ego because I don't want a dumbfound woman. I don't want no dumbfound, dumb about Ross woman. I'm just saying I want someone who has a thought. I mean, who has a mind, who can think and can influence. And when a matter of fact, we influence each other because I do believe we should motivate, inspire, and hold each other accountable. If we're not doing these things, then what we together for? You know what I'm saying? You have goals. I have goals, but we hold each other accountable to your goals. Okay, you say you want to do this. Okay, I'm gonna put your foot to the fire, and it should be that mutual thing. What you say about that?
I think that in today's time, the word role is kind of shunned, but in any organization or any connection, every individual has their own role. That's the only way to make it work. Because if you have two people that's doing the same thing, we know and we've understood that one of them is not necessary. And so, if we understand our role, our positions in the household, the family, in the marriage, in our union together, then it gives us a more complete way of handling situations. Because she might be good at handling finances, I might not.
All
I
right.
have to trust in her to utilize her skills that she's better at. And I have to be, even as a man, I have to take a step back in those things that I'm not good at and focus on the things that I am good at. And so when we both focus on the things that we're good at, the things that that really adds to the relationship, that builds the relationship up stronger. And we're in a time where a, a woman can focus on her independence more than she can the relationship. And so a lot of women pride, and I don't mean this in any offensive way, but it's the truth of the matter. A woman is proud, can be proud on how much money she makes, how many degrees she has, such and so forth. But if you're independent, then that makes you incapable of being interdependent in a relationship. If you feel like you can do everything for yourself, then you puts that man in a situation where he feels like, why am I here? If I'm not needed, then why would I be here? And also we have men who lack in their responsibilities. Who sometimes we have men who create children who are not there for them and leaves that responsibility on simply on the woman. Or some men who are not providing properly, or some men who uh, have their own situations and not fully living up to their responsibility. And so that's a two-way street. Men, we also have to step up to the plate, do the things that we have to do, need to do, supposed to do, in order to give a balance for that independent woman to quote unquote go into her soft girl era and for us to lead in a way that we're supposed to. There's certain things, and we understand our roles. First, again, it goes all back to understanding ourselves. What am I good at? What do I These are conversations. What do I bring to the table as a person? How can I add to the relationship? What are my skills that I can build? What are my strengths? Because if I have strengths that complements her strengths and her strengths complements my weaknesses, then we have a solid foundation to build on, and vice
Mhm.
versa. And so going back to what you're saying, it's just like understanding your roles, understanding yourself, coming together, putting those things together and building something that has the potential, if handled correctly, to be something substantial and significant.
Right. You know, you brought up something, D, and I like what you just said. We're men, so we're not women, but we're men. And I know men, we should provide structure. We should learn structure. That's something we was never taught. Structure. If we don't have structure in our own life, how can we provide structure for her? If we're lacking our own, if we are not disciplined in our own life, how can we expect her to be disciplined? If that makes sense, because we lack the discipline, we lack the structure. A lot of some guys are so emotional. It's like it's tick for tag. Oh, I need her to be there for me. I need her to support me. It's like you putting out that same energy that she's putting out instead of just focus on you. I believe guys gotta learn how to focus on themselves first. Learn you. Learn to be married to you. Get yourself together. Because everything starts with self first, D. I do believe that. You know, you have like you see people on social media telling guys, man, go in the gym, get the muscles up, you get that woman, money, clothes, status, high value man, on your purpose. All this stuff has to do with a woman, but instead of showing guys, hey, if you want the muscles, do it for you. You want the money, do it for you. You want the nice car, do it for you. You want the nice house, do it for you. Everything starts with self first, but we've been taught if you want to get her, do this. Like women would go get the BBLs. Why? For to get to impress a man instead of just being loving who you are. Because I believe it is once you become the better man, you're gonna draw in the better woman. Because whatever you are, you attract. If you're a successful man, you're gonna draw in a successful woman. If you just a mediocre person, if you mediocre, you're gonna draw in mediocre people. If you're a go-getter, you're gonna draw in go-getters. That's just how it is. But I just be as men, hey men, learn how to take care of yourself. Learn how to have a structured life. You know, if you have your own place, it's good for a man to learn how to live by himself for a while to learn himself, learn how to run his house on his own. If that makes sense. What you say about that, D?
I think that I recently saw a video on social media. I've seen this same message over and over, but it ties directly into what you're saying. The message was simply be the right person instead of look for the right person.
Mm,
A lot of times we hear people say, "Oh, I'm looking for my better half." But if you
I don't
come in,
believe that.
yeah, in as a whole person and you connect with another whole person, then you have the opportunity to have something that's solid. Because if you're only half person and you meeting up with another half person, you coming together is not going to be the answer. The answer is going to be two whole people that's coming together to become one. And by one, it's just meaning same vision, same purpose, same plan. And understanding also, we cannot forget the understanding of the God role. We gotta, go back to the foundation where everything started. God has to be the center because there's gonna be days I wake up, I'm not gonna like my woman. There's gonna be nights that we go to sleep and we not talking. And so, in our own individual, as people, as human beings, our emotions, our the things that our past trauma and those things that affect how we think and respond in certain ways, it's going to take us in a different direction. But if we know and understand the foundation is God, we can always go to God with our issues. We can always go to God about our wife to pray, to get that peace, get back re-centered on what's most important, and then come back to be a loving and caring spouse for the individual if we have a place to go to in secrecy and in private to always lead back to that relationship. Because I heard recently that um, she is the prize and not a possession. And that's in a song also, but I seen the post and I made this statement before. If she is the prize, then the focus is in the wrong direction. The relationship should be the prize. Having a healthy, happy relationship should be the prize. It shouldn't be him. It should not be her. It should be us coming together to have a healthy, happy relationship should be the prize. And so with that, it always goes back to your mental perspective about what you're being involved in. If you understand that the relationship is more important than both of us as individuals, you'll keep the relationship first and walk in that path.
Yeah, 'cause I'm gonna see. I hear people talking about I'm the prize. I'm the prize. I just finna pull up the meaning of what that means. The prize. I am the prize. I mean, what is the meaning of the prize? In your opinion, what is the meaning of that?
I mean, at the end of the day, a prize is always about a contest. You get a prize when you um, go into some type of contest, whether it's sports, whether it's chess, whatever. It might be a trophy, it might be a medal, but at the end, it's about you competing with somebody else to get something. And so, if one person or the other is the prize, then it's about the other person having to compete with other people in order to get the other person. If that's what it's about, then um, you place yourself in a position where you know it's about game, it's about competition, and it's not truly about who you are. It's about the process of the competition, more about actually getting to the person, getting to know that person. Is more about the competition than the purpose person.
Yeah, because I look up there, it says, I'm looking at the definition like prize. And we say that all the time. I'm the prize. I'm the prize. Like you said, a thing given as a reward to the winner of a competition or in recognized of an outstanding achievement. But these are things we say.
Right.
And we don't, and when we say these words, we don't look at the definition of what we saying. It sounds good, and it's cliche. So what? Now we in competition, right? This is a competition. I thought we supposed to complement each other and not compete against each other. A household divided won't not stand. And I say this all the time too. D. A lot of I heard some individual women, they feel lost in the sauce. When your husband prosper, you gonna prosper as well. And I got to give a prime example to LeBron James' wife, Savannah. You don't see her in the forefront like that. It's all about LeBron, LeBron, LeBron. You see her, but you never see her in the forefront because she know that my husband is prospering. I'm gonna prosper too. And I And I ask this question all the time, like, what do you feel like you missing out on? It's like, and you hear a lot of women, I got a purpose. I got a purpose. Your purpose is tied in with your husband. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all work together. Y'all are one. And I think a lot of times people feel like they're missing out on something. They're like the world got them thinking they're missing out. He's not. It's all about him, and it's not about me. We are together. We are one. And you got some women who don't want to be in that position. It's like, hey, I let my husband take that role. I work behind the scene. I'm working with him. They don't want to be. Some women don't want to be in the forefront like that. They say, hey, I let my husband handle that. That's his his role. I just want to, you know what I'm saying, be behind the scene. What do you say about that?
And the second part to that statement in that song, it says, I'm the prize, not a possession. Listen to that again. The song says, I'm the prize, not a possession. So think about this. A woman who feels like she's not to be possessed, she will eventually end up being alone. And it's not as far as like a possession as far as a car, or a possession as far as a watch, a material possession. But if a man's role is to provide, protect, and profess, then guess what? He has to feel that. He has to be that umbrella. You have to be up under him for his covenant to even be effective.
Mm-hmm.
So if he doesn't possess, if he doesn't protect you, then he's outside of his role, and eventually you will be alone. If he doesn't feel like you are his, that you might be somebody else's, that you might be dipping it out somewhere else, if he's not going to give you his full effort, he's not going to give you full money, he's not going to give you himself completely if he does not feel like he possesses you. And again, not like a material possession, but the possession of having you to himself. So any woman who's going around saying that she's a prize, not the possession, we just broke that down for you. You got to understand, words have meaning. And if you're living by words, then you're also living by the meaning of those words. So be careful what you say, because your words will dictate how you think about things and how you perform also.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And that made me think about too when the scripture says, no man yet hate his own flesh, but nurse and cherish it. So it's always God's will for us to take care of ourselves. And the Bible said, no man yet hate his own flesh, but nurse and cherish it. That's something that I apply to my own life on a regular, as take care of myself. Take care of your well-being, because it's going back to loving yourself. And you, like Kevin Gates said, I don't chase, I attract. So I'm the right man. I'm going to attract the right woman. And it's not even seeking that. Because a lot of times you see a lot of single people, and we see this on social media. I'm praying for a spouse. I'm praying for a husband. I'm praying for a wife. But in the midst of that, have you been working on yourself internally? Have you been focused on building yourself up, that in the due time and due season, you going to end connecting with that person? It just going to happen. Not expecting it, because I had a conversation the other day. I was at a restaurant in Arlington. I live in Arlington. I went to a restaurant, and the waitress was at the restaurant, and she said, "You're just eating by yourself?" And I said, "Yeah. I mean, I take myself out to dinner. I take myself out to lunch. I even go to the movie by myself sometimes." And she was like, "I just can't do that as a woman. I just can't do that." But I enjoy my company. You
Right.
know, the scripture said a man should not be alone. He said being lonely. I'm not lonely, because I got God and I love me. But we forgot, we so in tune of, I gotta have somebody. But what about this time of spending time with yourself, learning about yourself, getting to know yourself? So because everybody gets, so I don't want to be by myself. It's people right now with people, they still by themselves.
Mm.
Because
Yeah,
we go back to this person completes me. I never want to say a person completes me. Because if I tell you that means I need to go back to the drawing board. I need to check myself. Because I cannot give you the best version of me because I have not given myself the best version of myself first.
for sure.
And not just in marriage, D, but in all aspect of life, our finances, our business. You have a lot of people that want to be successful, but they're being lazy. They don't want to make the necessary sacrifice. Like me, I'm into stocks. You know what I'm saying? I got some stocks, I got some stock in crypto and other investments. So I'm at that point in my life that I'm learning to make my money work for me and being successful in that. Being successful in every area of life, not just one particular area. We a lot of people say they want to chase the bag, but they're lacking in other areas. They're lacking in their relationship. They don't know how to talk to people. They don't take care of themselves. But we want to chase this bag and we want to put on social media like we got it going on. But behind the scenes, we're not happy. We're miserable. We're upset. We're lost, depressed,
For sure.
frustrated. But we'll put on social media like, oh man, look, he got it going on. He's driving a nice car. He's living in a big house in Dallas. Look at the type of people he wearing his jewelry. But behind the scenes, he's not happy.
For sure. I mean, that's a common thread though in today's time. Um, it's more about um, impression instead of impact. We want to look good, but we don't want to take steps to actually make life good. As long as other people think we're doing good, we're okay with it. But in the silent shadows of our own home, the silent shadows of our own mind, we're stressed, we're worried, we're depressed, face anxiety, and it's just like a continuous cycle because
Mm-hmm.
we continuously say over and over again, it starts with self. We're so busy trying to project the image that we have not perfected ourselves in who we are and what we do. And so it's a sad thing. I think at some point we all um, do it to a certain extent, but again, we have to figure out why we're doing what we're doing. Is it because we don't feel like we're enough? Is it because we're trying to create an image or we're trying to create a brand? We're trying to do marketing. That's one aspect. But if we're doing it trying to fill voids within ourselves, then that's a totally different beast. That's a totally different monster. That's an elephant in the room that needs to be discussed and handled. A lot of times we have traumatic situations, like we said, started from childhood, broken relationships, certain failures that we have went through and we have not forgiven ourselves and others who have hurt us,
Mm-hmm.
continue to carry that baggage around with us. We wonder why the last relationship didn't work, but we're taking the same stuff into the next relationship, hoping that it works, or the next business venture, or the next weight loss diet, or whatever it is. We take these things into the next instead of really dealing with it, and we continue not to become successful, continue to be quote unquote looked at as failures, trying to look like something. As we know, I listen to Myron Golden. He has this concept of be, do, have. And if we look at he uses the example of a tree. When a seed is planted, the first way it grows is down into the dark, into the dirt, in order to build a great foundation for what is going to grow up. So once that foundation, those roots are set, which will be us understanding who we are, then we can then shoot up to break the surface and for people to see. And once people see it, that nurtures that from what people see, it grows up into the fruits. That's when we get the fruit of our labor, the stuff, the things, the everything that comes with it. Because we first had the root, then we had the shoot, and then we end up with the fruit.
Man, that's what's up right there. Because I was just looking at, so I just pulled something out too as you was talking. and I was looking at something on how to become an elite in life. It's a composition guide I had made a copy of, and the thing that stuck out to me, I have it highlighted. It says becoming an elite individual isn't just about achieving success in life. It's about constantly growing and improving yourself daily, and that's just where I'm at. I'm consistently about growing and improving myself daily because it's about the character. It's not about the outer appearance. It's about the internal. So I constantly want to grow and I constantly want to evolve. I constantly want to improve myself on a regular basis.
Okay. And I'm gonna break down my story a little bit since we're talking about this.
Okay.
If you didn't know this, for your viewers, I spent 17 years in prison.
Oh, really?
17 years in prison. That's where I was in my darkness. That's when I was
Mm.
building my roots for the person that you see now. Yeah, you see me traveling across the United States, speaking at different places. You see me throwing different conferences for the youth. You see me doing a lot of different things now. But in that dark space, that 17 years in prison, I did those roots. I did the hard work. I did the introspection. I read the books. I went to Toastmasters, learned how to speak, all in those dark times. So in that dark time, that's when I was digging my roots, when I was preparing myself for what individuals see now. But they don't know that. They think that, oh, well, he just came out of nowhere. No, I made a decision. When they buried me in that prison, it could have been a graveyard or a garden. Was I going to die there, or was I going to be planted in order to come out and be a successful individual? And I chose to allow prison to be my garden. I got my degree. I did so much introspection. I learned, I read books, I found God, I went through the courses, I did all of that stuff in those dark times. So now when you see me, you wonder, oh, why is he so successful? Why does his life look like that? Because I was in that dark place putting in that work for multiple years. I was in prison for over 6,000 consecutive days. And I was putting in that work. I wasn't taking it lightly. I understood that one day I was going to get out, and I had to make that mindset shift. And that's how I was able to do it.
Man, I did not know that. And that's 17 years. As I would listen to, you just use that for that extra motivation. Because I know a lot of time when people are incarcerated, and I work within this, I work for Dallas County, I work inside the jail, and I see a lot of guys. It's very rare guys who would take this and use it as motivation to better their life. It's very rare to see cats like that to say, you know what, I'm gonna turn my life around. This is not my destiny to be like this. But I applaud you for using that as added motivation to become a better man.
For sure. If you look at my shirt, you see FACTS. That's spelled facts. And it's my message, everything that I stand for, from a sale to success.
Mm.
So with that, it's a two-way street. If you look closely, there's a street that goes through cell, through prison or jail, whatever your situation may be. And when I say sale can be divorce, it can be a broken relationship, the loss of a loved one, bankruptcy, losing weight. It can be anything that makes you feel like you're trapped in a situation. Not necessarily jail, not necessarily prison, juvenile. Anything in life, you can feel like you're being in prison, even in your own mind. And so it's a two-way street where you go through this process of going from a sale to success, but it's also for the youth to actually go from here to success without having to go through the sale. And so for me, again, my message is make your next move your best move. It does not matter where you've been or what you're currently going through. You can create a life that you truly desire. And that's why I live that message. That message is my life. How do a person go from 17 years in prison to being somebody who's truly successful, walking in purpose? It's exactly about what we have been talking about the whole time. It's about first finding your purpose, looking within yourself, finding your strengths, building on those strengths, aligning them with your purpose, and walking that purpose out with the help of God, knowing and understanding that He's for you and not against you. And so, with that, um, I continue to preach this message, and I say preach loosely. I speak on the message because one, there's a lot of individuals who are in tough situations right now or have been in tough situations. Like I recently got laid off due to AI. That's another sale.
Mm.
Guess what? The same process that I used to overcome my past obstacles. These are principles. These do not are not determined by the situation. They work in all aspects of life, and that's what I continuously share. Like finding your purpose, walking in there, it doesn't matter what the circumstances, what the things are outside of you, the people outside of you are. Because if you're founded on what your purpose and passion and strengths are, you can make it through anything. Plus, you got to have emotional intelligence. You cannot allow your emotions to dictate your moves. Um, and so, with that, man, I just live it. I love it, and I continue to speak, share it, man.
Oh man, that's what's up, D. I appreciate you again. I know we close to that time mark, and I don't want to hold you up. I'm respect for your time. So I do have Deric's website across the screen. So you go ahead check out this website. Other than that, D, how can people get in contact with you? I do post a website. So how any other contact how people get in contact with you as well?
My personal phone number is 469-648-8539. You can call me to book me as a speaker. I speak at churches, conferences, colleges all across the United States. You can reach me at Deric, Deric C. Durden, on Facebook and Instagram. On TikTok, my username is Deric D90. You have my website. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on X. On all my platforms, it's my name. You can reach me there. You can call me. Uh, I am here to provide the services of speaking, coaching, and basically mentoring. I'm here for the youth. I'm here for anybody who is going through a tough situation. I promise you. I share with you the steps and processes of how to get through it, even if it's because I also speak on mental health, which is key.
Okay.
But I really focus on the process of it don't matter where you've been or what you're going through, you can still create the life you desire.
Man, that's what's up. Matter of fact, D, DM me your number because it's someone I want you to connect with. Big shout out to Miss Jones. She does a lot of stuff with her youth at her church. And I would love for you. She's out in Fort Worth. I would love for you to connect with her. So after the show, just send me your number. I'm gonna give her a call after the show because I want y'all to connect because I think she would love that. And I hate that low mixture because she would love to hear this too. And I also big shout out to Nancy as well. So we have to bring you back on. I know about to do a new podcast. Just saying, we're gonna be inside the studio. So when that does lunch, we'd love to fight you out and be able to talk about this, man. I applaud you. I applaud you, King. I really do, man. Keep with the great work. Before we get ready to part, do you have any words of advice, any sounds of wisdom you will leave here with the listening audience?
I mean, first of all, I want to say thank you for this opportunity. It's been truly a blessing to be able to be on your podcast, your platform, to be introduced to your audience. Prayerfully, we continuously to connect not
Oh
only
yeah,
on
most definitely.
this space, but many different platforms in person, and also just because I feel like together we can provide value information to the listeners, uh, to whoever we can come in contact with to provide some impactful information or change and transformation. My word, my thing that I want to leave with you is a thing that I continuously say. It doesn't change. That's the thing about me. Once I find something, I'm stick with it. And it's simply, it doesn't matter what you've been through, what you're going through, you can still create the life that you deserve by making your next move your best.
Man, that sums it up right there. So I appreciate you, D. man. Keep up the great work, outstanding work. Thank God that he allowed us to connect on last Saturday. It's just being of new things. I do believe that. But like I said, man, just DM me your number. I'm gonna call Miss Jones. I'd love for you to connect with her. And like I said, she does a lot of youth stuff. Her church is in Fort Worth, so that would be a big thing as well. 'Cause a lot of people need to hear this, especially in our community. They need to see men of color doing something positive and not something negative. That there are men of color as yourself who went through a tragedy, didn't let that tragedy make them, but overcome the adversity to be a better man. Let me ask you this, are you planning on writing a book soon? Is that something in the works or?
Yeah, I have an ebook out right now on Amazon.
Okay.
It's called Unstoppable. Um, you can get it on Amazon right now. Uh, but I do have a book that I'm about to. Also, people can reach out to me. I do T-shirts from a sale to success. I do speaking engagements, coaching. You have a teenager who might be heading down the wrong path and you want to catch them before it's too late. I know it's single mothers, a lot of single mothers out there raising young men who just need a good male figure to help guide them. And so, reach out to me on that and love to connect with each and every individual who reaches out. I look forward to it.
Man, that's what's up. Hey, the games begin. So we'll be back here tonight at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Me and the Kingdom Chick out of Miami, Florida will be here along with a very special guest, Q, of course. She's a local actress here in the DFW, so she's going to be chopping up with us tonight as she talks about her career and whatever else God lead us to, because we here on these platforms. We want to make sure we're dropping some real organic stuff that's going to challenge you mentally, challenge you spiritually, that you become a better individual, better version of yourself. I say this all the time, D, that I release everything that's keeping me back from tapping into the higher version of myself. And once you start saying it over yourself, you'll feel an uplifting off your shoulders. It could be anything. That it could be habits. It could be fear, doubt, lack. You know what I'm saying? Unforgiveness, bitterness, sadness. The prayer, whatever the case may be. We gonna release those things that's keeping us back for fulfilling the true purpose that God has for our lives. Because we know that these habits can hold us back from tapping into greatness and tapping into being iconic people and tapping in from being elite people at all time, because God made us elite. He gifted us. We are geniuses. We are special, right? So hey, we gotta be that for ourselves. So we about to get ready to depart. Man, today, like I said, D's website is on across the stream. So y'all make sure y'all get in contact with him. Make sure you follow him on all social media platforms. And that sums it up. Anything else? Do you got anything before we leave?
Thank you again.
And awesome stuff. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're out this thing. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. We're going to be back here tonight at 7 p.m. along with the Kingdom Chick herself, Nancy C., and our very special guest, Miss Q, here in the DFW. And also give big shout out to my partner, my labor mate for the Just Saying podcast, Low as well. So, man, y'all be blessed. Big shout out to you again, D, and your team and all work that you're doing as well. So, man, y'all be blessed. And we'll see y'all again later on, ladies and gentlemen. Peace out. Peace.